Falcon fans, Falcon fans, Falcon fans. You already know what it is, and you already know what it do. It's your boy Jack Spade checking in from One Time for the Fan. Hit that like, hit that share, hit that subscribe button. We are live once again talking Falcons football. Y'all probably sitting here like, damn, Jack, another night talking Falcons football. You know, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, it don't matter what day it is of the week. We always want to talk Falcons football. And tonight's going to be a great night. We have a special guest joining us, Terry Wilson, who'll be in here talking Falcons football. Die-hard Atlanta Falcon fan, die-hard Brave fan. We can go down the list when it comes to, supporting Atlanta. But once again, I keep telling y'all, One Time for the Fan, we're going to bring a lot of die-hard fans to the podcast, right? We're going to bring these panels. We're going to bring different, segments. We're going to work these topics about what's going on in the organization because we want fans to understand that One Time for the Fan is for y'all. That's why it's called One Time for the Fan. No Chase tonight. No Bodie tonight. No Kiki tonight. Unless one of them randomly pop up. But they're probably enjoying, their Wednesday night. Chase was with us last night too as well. Bodie was with us last night too as well. We also had the other show earlier this week, the pop-up show, our Sunday podcast, the panel last week too as well with Scott Karisic and Ricondo. Man, it's going down in a major way. The pop-up show Monday though with Boo Man, Dan, and Denotrus was a great podcast, man. I'm telling you about. I go back and I look at some of these shows and I'm just proud of what's been going on with One Time for the Fan, and of course the Atlanta Falcons, knowing that they've been having some ups and downs that's need to be worked out this season. So we hope that they do get back on track. But until then, us content creators are here talking Falcons football with all of you Falcon fans. So hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Once again, bring your comments, your questions to the chat. Chat, you already know how lit we get, man. Hashtag one-timers, man. Hashtag the fan club. You know what it is. You know what to do. Episode 164. We are out here. Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts. Google us. We are outside. We've been outside for a very long time. Big shout out to all the diehard Falcon fans that's checking in. Whether if you're watching on YouTube or, like I said, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all those other networks. So Carlton Brunch is in the chat. He said, big things coming to ATL. Carlton, man, I'm glad you've been in the chat too as well, bro, because you've been here for the past couple of weeks and so on. You've been hearing what we've been saying and how excited we are about the upcoming season. But when you have all these fans that we've been bringing to the podcast to talk Falcons football with us, it really shows how excited this fan base is. And this special guest that we have tonight is a diehard Atlanta Falcon fan. So I keep mentioning this special guest when the special guest is sitting right here. So let me go ahead and add him to the podcast, Terry Wilson.
Hello, everybody. Hello. Happy to be here with everybody. Especially happy to be here with the man of the hour, Mr. Jack Spade. And, sir, I will defer to you. It is your show. Let us begin.
Oh, man, this is great. Falcon fans, like I said, we've had a lot of special guests on the show. We're probably going to get over 100 plus special guests by the end of the season, the way that we're rolling. Because we do have these fan talks. We have a lot of, also journalists that have joined the show before. A couple of y'all have seen a Falcon player or two in the chat too as well. But when you're talking to the fan base, you're really getting, that passion that fans need, because the fans feel the same thing the organization feels. That's the business side of it too as well. We're the fans. We see the product from the stands. We try to make sure that the team is ready to go. And I tell you, this young man right here, Terry Wilson, done seen a lot of Falcons football. And we talked the other day. Hell, we damn near did a podcast the other day, Terry, talking Falcons football.
Yeah,
so I had to invite you to the platform to find out, how's everything going with you? And who is Terry Wilson?
Hey, Terry Wilson is a regular guy. First and foremost, again, thank you for having me. I am excited and thrilled to be here. Hello, Sonia. Hey, rise up indeed. What's been going on with me? Nothing much but work, Falcons, and a little bit of Braves. But let me tell you something. I am excited to be here. I am excited for this year. I don't know if you guys saw that podcast, but let me tell you something. I have never, ever, and I've been here a while, okay? I'm at least half a century old. I've seen a lot of press conferences. I've never seen a press conference like the one that Raheem did the other day. He brought integrity, he brought passion, he brought unity, which I think our fan base sorely needs, right? I think we can really get behind this guy. Yeah, we could be on Hard Knocks next season. That's a good point. But yeah, no, I'm excited to see what Raheem can do. He's been in this business for years. He did have his opportunity, I think 11, 15, whatever years ago. But I think he has grown since then. I think he's cultivated relationships with some very smart guys. You know, you and I were talking, and a lot of Falcons coaches decided to stay over and work with him. You know, tell me your thoughts about that, Jack. What do you think about that?
I mean, you got a guy such as Raheem Morris who's getting, the love and appreciation from coaches like Mike Tomlin. Of course, Les Snead, Sean McVay, the whole Ram staff. Hell, you damn near brought most of the Ram staff that he's worked with over here to Atlanta. Who
He
else?
did.
I mean, there's probably a couple more coaches he can fill the roster with by looking out with the West Coast coaches that he had before. But I think Raheem is a great guy. I've chatted with him back in 2017, 18, those years. And then to see him now as the head coach, and then of course speaking with him the other day at the press conference fan invite thing, it was actually pretty cool to see. But like you said, he has definitely matured a lot since the Tampa Bay days, even since what has happened with Atlanta with the Super Bowl run, and then after that too as well, going to the Rams, winning a Super Bowl, and really like looking at what Raheem has been through his coaching career. He deserves this shot at being another head coach, and to stay home the way he did for me as a Falcon fan made me feel like, he's from Atlanta, but he's not from Atlanta.
Absolutely.
So he just made you feel the vibe where I didn't get that from Dan Quinn. And I remember those years. I didn't get that from Arthur. I damn sure didn't get that from Arthur Smith. And I remember those years too as well. But hearing Raheem talk the other day just made me feel as a fan that we're going to fight like hell this year.
Absolutely.
And we're going to have to do a lot to definitely make it to the playoffs. But it's not as bad as people think. You know what I'm saying? It's not Carolina Panther bad.
It's actually quite opposite. It's the antithesis of bad. We had a top 10 defense last year, sans the past couple of games. We had a top 10 defense. That's number one. And that's without a dominant pass rusher. We have at least 5 or 6 weapons on the offensive line. On the offense. Our offensive line is decent. The only thing we are really missing is a quarterback, and evidently a coach like Raheem. When we chatted the other day, you talked about a moment that really impressed you. I'm going to tell you 2 that really impressed me. One of them was it was a mentality before it was a reality. He got, because I'm thinking, wow, I never thought about it that way, but you really have to see it before you do it. I think Raheem has vision. I think he is a natural leader of men, but more importantly, he's a uniter. And I think he has the charisma to unite fans, to unite stakeholders, to unite stockholders, to unite everybody from staff on down to one common goal. And like he said, why not us, right? That was the thing that impressed me. The other thing that impressed me was something you talked about, in that he remembered you, right? You were on the sidelines back in 2019, and he actually called it out. Did he not?
I'm a diehard fan. I mean, I got the videos and too many pictures of when, him, he used to coming out the tunnel and seeing me on the sidelines, yelling his name and yelling, being a Falcon fan, man. I guess represent the fan base well. But he saw me the other day in a light where it's like, damn, that fan right there is always ready to go. But then again, that's bro right there, been a fan for a very long time. And, I feel good about that because as a diehard fan, I want my team to win.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I want my team to win.
Yeah, of course. I mean, just think about it, right? What if 2 years from now, the Falcons are in the Super Bowl, right? Hey, let's go. Let's go to work. Let's get it done. You know what? I wanted to hit somebody, to be honest with you. I am, 53 years old, and as you can tell, I don't miss a meal. But I wanted to go out and hit somebody. So I agree with Simone. Hey man, let's get it done. But in all seriousness, it's 2 years from now, right? We're watching the Super Bowl. It's about 3 seconds left, and the Falcons are going to win. Talk through what that moment is going to be like for you.
I mean, you're looking at a fan who has been waiting years for this, and I can even go back to the Houston years when we was down there, playing against the Patriots. I was talking hella shit. I was down there in Houston. I was talking hella shit because I know that, my thing was party on Peachtree. We're gonna have a good time. I was just being a fan like how I normally am. But then seeing that fourth quarter, man, I told you that like the drive back from Houston was probably an 8-hour drive, and it's usually a 12-hour drive. I was punching it. Right. Doing probably like 150, 160, getting the hell out of Houston as fast as I can because it was a disappointing situation. But I do believe this team can turn it around.
Yep.
Raheem has been in the moment where he talked about it the other day where, that redemption. He kept mentioning that. He talked about the Packer game and the Seahawk game back in the Dome. He talked about that feeling of being in the Super Bowl again. And as a fan who, can't fast forward time, if it does happen where we do get to, when it does happen.
There you go. When it does happen.
I told you that I will be there. And that will probably be the year where I'm probably going to get arrested as a fan. I'm running on the field. I'm probably doing it with, you're talking about 3 seconds left. I'm probably the one that's running on about 1 second. About 1 or 2 seconds left on the clock. They're going to be like, okay, there's a fan on the field. Hey, yeah, that's Jack Spade. That's Jack Spade.
Let's do it.
I deserve the shit. And then most of the people are going to be like, yo, that's Jack. Yo, leave him alone. Yo, leave him alone. Like, leave him alone. Like, I'm the good guy. Yeah. I'm the good guy. I'm not like the person out there trying to, get autographs. I'm just happy to have my Super Bowl win. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So, I want the confetti. I want to be in the moment. Yeah.
Bro, it's going to be in somebody else's stadium. Yeah, probably won't play there for the next 3-4 years. I wouldn't give a shit. Just lock me up right now. But I'm finna get the confetti. I know that.
100%. Well, you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you, Jack. That brings us to a segue. Building blocks, rising up, and gearing ourselves towards our team. Let's talk about the draft, right? There's a lot of talk of the Falcons having the 8th pick. What do you think about Dallas Turner? What are your thoughts right there at 8 for the Falcons?
If chances are, the situation with Dallas Turner, with some people reporting that, I think it's NFL Network had it on their draft mock the other day, and CBS Sports had it on their draft mock. But if you have Dallas Turner at 8, that means you kind of went to get your guy at free agency, because that means how do you have that 8th pick still and you haven't got a quarterback? I think everybody's on the table here looking at where is the quarterback, who is going to be the next guy. And right now, I mean, Falcon fans, we do not know, right? I think there's some fans that were jumping in the chat the other day saying Ritter is going to be the QB1. I'm trying to do everything without having Ritter in the conversation.
Right.
I'm trying to be respectful to the fans that want a new quarterback. We've already seen Ritter. We've already seen Heineke. So if Ritter does become the starting quarterback again, I'm not, oh, wow, I've seen this guy before. You know what I'm saying? Right. But let's go win some games. But to see the new guy, this is the fan base I'm really pushing that, because there really might be a new guy in here in a matter of weeks. So for me, Dallas Turner, I mean, he's a monster, Falcon fans. Go look at the tape of Dallas Turner. You're looking at a pass rusher. He's going to get after it. First down, second down, third down. This seems like a no plays off type of guy. I'm a Georgia guy, and I have to admit, I spent a lot of time watching, because Georgia's my team. I wasn't paying too much time to Alabama, even though they're in the SEC. I didn't pay too much attention to LSU with Jaden Daniels because, I'm just focused on Georgia. For what I do as a fan with the Falcons in Georgia, I wasn't paying attention to that. Did I watch their games and see what they were doing? Yes. Did I give a shit about the stats and what everything? No, because I'm focused on Georgia. But of course, at the end of the season now, go Dogs. At the end of the season now, I've taken the time to go back and look at some of these players, because of course you're going to be doing these mock drafts soon. You're going to be doing these, podcasts with other content creators where they're going to be doing different draft scenarios for the second round and third round. And, we have a big show Friday. I'm just going to announce it. We have a big show Friday at 3 p.m. with Myles Garrett from Fox 5 Atlanta
Oh,
here
wow.
for the fan. And Myles has been on the show pretty much more than anybody. I think he's been on the show more than Chase. But he's a diehard Falcon fan, but he's also a journalist for Fox 5, and he has to do his job. He does it very well. Of course, when Myles joins the chat with us or he's here talking Falcon football with us, Falcon fans really get what they want when they hear Myles talk, because he is a journalist who's in the room with these guys. He has talked to Terry already. He has already talked to Raheem. He's already spoke to, the people that he worked with at Fox 5 today had a very impressive interview with Terry Fontenot today that we're going to talk about shortly. Torrey McElhaney, which is, his coworker. So it's really big when you have these people who can come to the platform and talk about these scenarios. When Myles comes Friday to the platform, fans are going to be asking about second round. They're going to be asking about third, fourth round, because Myles just came from the Senior Bowl. And a lot of players that the Falcons have selected recently came from the Senior Bowl. So Myles is going to be giving us some insight on Friday at 3 p.m. Lunchtime with Myles at Friday. Last time we did lunchtime with Myles was at 1 p.m. That's how busy Myles is. He has too much stuff going on at Fox 5 where he can't do the 6, 7, 8 p.m. shows all the time. So when he said, hey, man, he hit me up. He was like, bro, I want to talk Falcons football. I said, let's do it. So he said 3 p.m. Friday. I said 3 p.m. Friday it is. Let's go ahead and make it work. And he's going to be in here talking Falcons football. So I'm going to ask him the Dallas Turner question. I'm going to ask him the trade back question. I'm going to ask him the trade up question, because different scenarios really have to play out here, Falcon fans. And this is where it's time to get down to the nitty gritty. So I'm going to get to Dallas Turner at 8. I have no problem with it. But now going over these draft scenarios, shout out to John Moreno, Eric Parker, Carlton Bunch, everybody in the chat. These different draft scenarios, Dallas Turner can be in question if you get your guy in free agency. That means you already have your quarterback. You're looking good. You're pushing already early to show when you get to the draft. If you get your quarterback in free agency, you're going to get to the draft, and you now can look at, okay, we can trade back if Dallas Turner was to go at 6, because we don't know. If he was to go at 5, we don't know. So last year, everybody said Jalen Carter. Then it was Bijan Robinson. So we do not know. I think this year, Falcon fans are really stuck on, and I'm one of the fans too, if you don't get a quarterback in free agency, you have to get a quarterback in the draft.
Agreed.
So from the moment season kicks off, fans are now watching to say, okay, Falcons, what is going to happen? And then it goes to the Bears and what they're going to do. But let's go to draft scenarios and talk here, Terry, about the Falcons and how things can play for the good hand or for the bad hand, right? You have teams that are possibly willing to give up everything. So fans can say, you got to be aggressive. Terry, you got to be aggressive. See, I'm talking to you, Terry, like you're Terry. So I can say Terry. Terry, you got to be aggressive.
Right.
You got to be aggressive. Well, guess what? Being aggressive means sometimes you might have to load the boat. Because, Terry, if I'm giving you 4 picks and the Raiders are giving you 6 picks and a player, which one are you taking?
I'm taking the 6 picks of the player.
Terry, if I give you 3 picks, 3 first-rounders, but a team that's 12 spots behind me comes and gives me 5 picks on the player. 2 of them are first-rounders, 1 is a second, and they don't give a fuck about the other 2 picks, but they got a player that's a B-tier rated type guy. Which one are you taking?
I'm going to go with option B.
You're going to go with the 5 because it's all about sometimes who gives you more.
Correct.
And the Bears are looking to put on the ski mask as soon as the season starts. As soon as the offseason starts, they're going to put the ski mask on. They're going to say, y'all ready to go rob? Y'all ready? All right, let's go rob somebody. Because they have the NFL right now by the vice grips. You got to look at the Justin Fields situation. If they trade him, they get value for that.
Right.
If they keep him and trade the number 1 pick, they get value for that. They're still sitting at 9.
Right. Correct.
They're still sitting at 9. So they can shake up the NFL. The Vikings, hearing Justin Jefferson mention that he wants to go to an organization, and we talked about this today, Terry, so let's get to it. He wants to go to an organization that he's ready to break the bank. He wants to go to an organization that wants Justin Jefferson.
Right.
And looking at the Vikings cap space and what they could be doing, I don't know if you're going to be able to keep some of these guys over there and Justin. It's a heavy payout for Justin. Can they make it work? Possibly. But maybe it could be something where Colin Cowherd, he mentioned it on his podcast on Fox Sports. Maybe the Vikings end up trying to trade a heavy candidate like Justin Jefferson to move up ahead of the Falcons. The Raiders try to put something together to move up. The Broncos try to put something together to move up. So Falcon fans, it's really important when we bring these draft scenarios because there are different fans in the chat every time we go live. So they might miss it. Some might hear it. Some might be hearing it again. Until we get news every day about these teams and what they're doing, we can hear March 14th that the Raiders have traded everything for the number 1 pick.
Right. Correct. Yeah. And so just to take, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, brother.
Yeah. Just to kind of take a step back, John Moreno, I believe we saw you. We saw the comment about Belichick, and I think I'm inclined to agree. I feel differently about it. Not really going to get deep into it, but I feel like Raheem was a better hire. That's just my opinion. That's right. Time for Terry to start cooking. Agreed. So back to the draft. You're absolutely right, Jack. That they could trade. You don't know. You're not going to know until you get into that scenario. And to be honest with you, I think you and I were discussing this the other day. There are about 10 or 11 teams that need quarterbacks. So, the trade route, the free agency route is not as cut and dry. And quite candidly, I feel like somebody's going to be left holding the bag, because you don't have 10 or 11 quarterbacks that are available. So somebody's going to have to stick with what they have, right? And I think that also means that teams will probably be a little more desperate, right? Yeah, have you ever heard of the term on tilt? It's a gambling term, but it essentially means that you're having a bad night. You're playing Texas Hold'em, you're having a bad night, and there could be some teams, come draft night that are on tilt. They didn't get their guy in free agency. It didn't work out. They weren't able to trade, and they could be desperate. And as we know, desperation makes for
Carolina was desperate last year.
Yeah. Well, the Cowboys were desperate. I'm sorry. The Vikings were desperate about 30 years ago when they traded for Herschel Walker, and, Dallas built their whole team and won 3 Super Bowls behind that draft. So, but to your point, they were. So you never know what's going to happen.
So it's very much so possible that as I keep, talking to fans and letting them know, you have about 7-8 quarterbacks that could be available to help move your franchise or help your franchise. You have about 8, 9, 10, 11 teams that need quarterbacks. But there's some out of that group of teams, somebody could be hungrier than the Falcons. Somebody could be more aggressive than the Falcons. So that's why it is important that when you get to free agency before the draft, you got to pick up the phone and make some calls. If somebody's available, and I'm not dropping names like this, throwing fields out there, but if Russell Wilson becomes I'm sure he's going to become available, you might make a call and see what they want. Don't wait till the draft.
Without a doubt, 100%. I think you have to, right? Because, let's be real. Russ is probably an ideal candidate, right? Maybe you get him for 20, 25, 30 million. You don't really have to break the bank. QB and free agency, build Ritter up, draft. Yeah, I could see that, Carlton.
I got Ritter at QB3 right now because I'm sure if you're going to bring in a rookie, you're going to have to get a vet somewhere, and you got to keep 3 on the roster or something.
Agreed.
You cut Taylor, you save $9 million though, so Taylor's out.
Without it, we've seen what Taylor has. I think Ritter is better. I think that'd be the choice. And maybe with our new quarterbacks coach or new offensive coordinator who is a quarterback whisperer, right? Maybe he can get better out of Ritter. I'm not saying he makes Ritter into a modern day Russell Wilson, but maybe he gets better. But yeah, as I was saying, looks like hey, for those of you who don't know, Eric Parker is actually my brother. So the
shout out brother Parker.
Brother. Shout out to Eric Parker. BLB is a nickname we have with each other. I'm BLB and he's LBB, right? So I'm big little brother because I'm shorter than him and he's little big brother. So that's the BLB. Not that you guys cared. Anyway.
Die-hard Falcon fans, both of you at all.
There you go. You go. Without a doubt. My brother eats, sleeps, breathes, and sweats Falcons. Without a doubt.
Big shout out to Berto. He was on the show last night. Big shout out to Berto from Bleacher Report. He was on the show last night. Big shout out to Berto.
Absolutely. Shout out to Berto. For real. So yeah, no, I think Russell would be a great choice. I
Mhm.
think Justin would be a good choice to the extent that you can't get Russ.
Mhm.
Um, you know, outside of that, who else do you see, Jack? I mean, what are you? We talked about Russ. We talked about Justin. Who else do you see the Falcons going to get in free agency, and would it be worth our while, or is it just those two, or trade, or I'm sorry, just those two, or draft? What are your
Well,
thoughts?
Falcon fans, I'm gonna say it again. Go ahead and bring the drum out. Give me the drumsticks. Let me go ahead and play my damn rhythm because it's going in the direction of there are not that many quarterbacks available this
Right,
offseason.
right,
I'm sorry.
right.
There are some quarterbacks available. There are not that many good quarterbacks available this
Yeah,
offseason. You just got a
yes,
new head coach. The GM is happy. You got 30 plus million or so in cap space. You got to work the boards to get some more numbers up. But I don't think you're going to spend a bunch of money going after like a Kirk Cousins.
yeah,
So you might have to make that shot with a Russell Wilson, who might be able
yeah.
to get a vet minimum. You might have to make a trade to see what's going on. For somebody to mention Jimmy G the other night was interesting because he not saying he's going to be a target here if he becomes available. I'm sure he is going to become available because the
Right,
Raiders will be looking for a quarterback. But it's about who snags who in free agency. The
right,
first day free agency opens. Let's just say the Bears say Fields is available. Well, here comes the Raiders calling, or here comes the Vikings calling because they need a quarterback. Here comes the Patriots calling. So let's just say Fields goes to the Patriots.
right,
They might be able to trade back. They don't need a guy at 3. They don't need a QB at 3. Fields
right.
might be their franchise guy. So now we might be able to trade to 3 with the Patriots.
Okay, okay.
So it is about if you get your guy in free agency, but you have to pick up the phone. You have to make some calls. But I hate to tell y'all, Falcons fan, and you know this, Terry, Eric Parker, you know this, Berto, you know this, Carlton Bunch, go look online. Look at the free agency at the quarterbacks available. There's not that many good ones.
It's not.
Russell, Justin, Kurt, if Justin's available, Russell, Just, Kurt, Ryan Tannehill, Jameis Winston, Gardner Minshew, who else? Josh Johnson. I think Zach Wilson might be available. Mac Jones might be available. I mean, come on, Falcons fans. You want me to keep going? We did this already. And then you go to your draft, Terry. You have Jaden Daniels. You have Caleb Williams. You have Drake May. And after that, Michael Penix, yeah. But some fans are not mentioning Bo Nix. They're not mentioning Spencer Rattler. They're not mentioning JJ McCarthy because the fan base here does not want that. So I'm just going to go name the quarterbacks that I see fit available for the Falcons. And my 5 was Russell Wilson,
Mm-hmm.
Justin Fields,
Okay,
Caleb Williams,
okay,
Drake May,
okay,
and Jaden Daniels.
okay.
Not in any order. The Falcons be. I think out of that 5, your quarterback is in that group.
Okay.
If I'm wrong and it's fucking Gardner Minshew, we're doomed.
Yeah.
But let's hope that Gardner Minshew comes out and brings that middle of the season Colts mentality he had last year when they gave him the position and he won the starting job. He did come in there and win some games for the Colts and put them in a position to almost make the playoffs. So I'm not
Okay.
throwing the shots at him because we don't know
Right.
who's going to be the starting quarterback. But I do see if you keep Ritter, QB3, you go get a rookie, you need a veteran. You need
Right.
somebody who can understand the system, who can coach this guy. Might be somebody who's late tier 30s. You might have to go look at a Sam Darty. You might have to go look at a Jimmy G.
Right.
Somebody to come in here and back him up if
Right.
they're willing to do it. But Jimmy G might be the guy to say, no, I'm still a starter in this league. Zach Wilson might say, no, I'm still a starter in this league. Those quarterbacks know how slim the pickings is too.
Right.
We're
Right.
not stupid here, Falcon fans. And Jimmy G and his agent and his team is not stupid. They
Right.
know if he gets released from the Raiders, we need to go to a team that's going to make me a starter. He still believes he's a starter. Same for
Right.
Mac Jones. Same for Zach Wilson.
You know, it's interesting. I am not, and don't get me wrong. I think we definitely need, one of the 5 that you discussed. Hey, Kerry. But I honestly feel like if we don't get one of those 5, let's say we do get a Jimmy G. Let's say, in this world, right? And in this universe, we end up with Ritter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what our offensive coordinator did prior to becoming a quarterback's coach. I believe,
Play
rumor
quarterback.
has it, that he studied quarterbacks
Oh, yeah.
and metrics and essentially assessed, okay, what tools does this guy have? What's going to
Mhm.
be able to take him to the next level? He
Mhm.
did that for a living, right? I also was not aware, and my brother and I were talking about this a couple of weeks ago.
Mhm.
Did you know that the Falcons, prior to this regime, did not have a quarterbacks coach?
Mm.
Maybe Dave Ragone shared those duties, but they did not have a dedicated quarterbacks coach, right? And I bring it up because in the last game, specifically against the Saints, Matt Ryan is pointing out the flaws in Desmond Ritter's footwork,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So what I'm saying, and again, I'm not saying whether I want Ritter or not. I'm saying you know if things happen, life happens. I think that this coaching staff is better than the previous one. Now,
Oh,
again,
yes.
that remains to be seen, right? I mean, talk is talk, right? But the feeling that I get, right? Just the feel that I get, I think this coaching staff is better.
Mhm.
And I bring it up. I'll use the Braves, for example, right? Everybody talks about the Braves. They talk about Ronald Acuna. They talk about all this other stuff. The Braves have had a legendary coaching staff, right?
Mhm.
You got guys from the Falcons that wanted to stay over and coach with Raheem. This offensive coordinator, I can't think of his name, and I apologize.
Zach Robinson.
I don't have the greatest memory,
Sheesh.
but he's supposedly the next coming. He studied under Sean McVay for
Mhm.
years, at least
Mhm.
4 or 5 of them,
Mhm.
right?
Mentioning
So
in the press conference, Zach Robinson reminds him of a young Kyle Shanahan. But yes.
yeah, yeah. So and guess what? Raheem has seen both.
Mhm.
So with that being said, sometimes it's about the development of the players that you do have,
Mhm.
right? And Berto is saying free agency will dictate what the Falcons do in the draft and how aggressive they can be. Agreed. But I just, for me, a good team is it's not just good players. You have to have good coaches, and not just good head coaches. You got to have a good offensive coordinator. You got to have a good defense coordinator. But you have to have guys that can develop talent,
Mhm.
right? Develop talent, and I think we have that.
Mhm.
I really do. So I'm not saying that Ritter's number one. I don't know, but if he is number 2, 3, 1, whatever, I still say we are in a better situation now than we were then, because the one thing this kid's going to get, he's going to get coaching,
Mhm.
right? And again, whatever it is, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're good, brother. That's what it's all about when we bring Falcon fans here to the channel to talk Falcons football with the Falcon fans, because that's what Falcon fans want to hear. They want to hear different draft scenarios. They want to hear how we can land this guy, how we can sign this guy in free agency. What are we looking at in cap space? How could they work the money? How could they work different things to acquire different players? And here at One Time for the Fan, we love it. So Terry, when it comes to talking Falcons football, you got all these Falcon fans in the chat. They ain't got no problem. You can sit here and talk as we've done in the past. Our first draft show, for those that was here, Eric Parker, the first night for our draft show that we did 2 years ago, it was, or a year and a half ago, we did fucking 3 hours the first night, 5 hours for day 2, and then 3.5 hours for day 3. So trust me when I tell you that Falcon fans were in here with us watching the draft, like, okay, 173. Okay, Kyle Norton goes to the Panthers. Okay, 170. Okay, 276. All right, 276. Falcons got 16 more picks, y'all. 16 more picks. We in here just bullshitting. We ain't eating no food or nothing. We just in here talking shit. Fans jumping in the chat. But last year's draft show, oh my gosh. When the Bijan Robinson pick was announced, fans in the chat lit up.
Yeah,
They lit up. When you
yeah,
saw, you should have seen the emojis from the fans in the
yeah,
chat. And Carrie, you was here too as well. I got up, put the headphones down, walked out the room.
yeah.
Um, you know, had to cash app somebody.
I hear that, man.
So
Yeah, I hear that. It's definitely going to be interesting. Um, yeah. Eric says Russ ain't trying to deal with the Atlanta fans. Hey, you could be
Russ
right.
don't have to worry about
Right.
situations where Atlanta media is going to be all over this guy for having a family.
Right.
in living life.
Right.
Because
Was it?
we're about the tea in the scoop out
Right.
here in
Right.
Atlanta. And what's going to sell before playing football? Drama.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the entertainment has to get their money side of it too. So don't be
Mhm.
surprised when you see everybody tagging, I don't know, Sierra in the future a million times in the chat
Mhm.
when the Falcons do their press conference. Don't be surprised when you hear people yelling out obscene gestures or whatever they're yelling out in the crowd because they heard a song from Future. And Russ just got sacked on 3rd and 4.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
And this guy just bought a single game ticket for $80.
Of course you did.
Not
And
even
he,
a season ticket holder, but he's the loudest one talking shit to Russell
yeah,
Wilson.
yeah, of course, of course, of course.
I was there. Saw the fans do it to Mariota. Saw the fans do it to Matt Ryan, which Matt Ryan, as Raheem said the other day, he made us comfortable when he was not comfortable.
Right.
Or when we were not comfortable. And of course, I'm looking at Jets fans right now, sad. I mean, they're doing the mic'd up thing right now. I'm looking at Patriots fans, sad. I don't want to be in that boat, y'all.
No,
you know what I'm
me
saying? Russ can bring that here to Atlanta, but fans have to get over the fact that, there's a lot going on when you have a family man coming to the city of, a situation he doesn't have to deal with. He can go to Pittsburgh and be with Mike Tomlin and not have to deal with anything in Atlanta, except for when he comes to play here for one game. If you're giving him a 2-3 year deal, and if we don't hit the mark that we need to hit, fans are going to go off on Russ, man. And I've seen the Falcon groups on Desmond Ridder, even when he was drafted. Man, come on, man. It's Atlanta, man. Free band. But big shout out to Eric Parker. Big shout out to everybody in the chat. Crimson Huntsman's in the chat too. So he said Russell Wilson's cap situation could make things difficult. However, Denver wants to play it out. Just know that Russell Wilson, and it's possible that he may be going to a team that we'll be playing against. Because we play the Vikings. They need a quarterback. We play the Steelers, and Mike Tomlin mentioned that he's going to bring somebody in to challenge Kenny Pickett. We also play the Raiders. They need a quarterback. I see Russell going to either Washington, which we play
with Dan Quinn,
Dan Quinn, or he's going to go to the Raiders because Sierra can open up a residency right there.
That's
right
true.
Down on the strip,
That's
right next to T-Pain.
Yeah, I think the Raiders would be a more ideal situation for him because they're set up to win now or quicker than Washington is, right?
And he can stick it to Sean Payton twice a year for the next 3 years. Really piss him off. Because Sean Payton's the coach that fucked him up in Denver. And now you get a chance to go over there and play with your rivals, and the Raiders fans gonna be hyped. They're gonna be stupid hyped.
They would be.
But Raiders fans are not gonna be tagging Future. Or saying things about him as a quarterback or a family man. I mean, you would get that in Atlanta, but you're not getting that in Vegas. They can't play some football, man.
That's true. They're happy to have a team. So
but my guy is Russ. I want to see if they make it happen that Russ is here. Oh, we're going. I think we're going to the Super Bowl. I think we're going to a Super Bowl if Russ comes here.
It's possible. It's because I mean, again, guys, we're not far away. We're not far away. We're not far away at all. We have a really good defense. We have some guys coming back. We got a great defensive coordinator. We just need a quarterback. That really and no disrespect to any, Ritter or Taylor Heineke. But we just need someone with a little more seasoning, a little more accuracy.
Sheesh, not seasoning. That's a tough word to say here in Atlanta.
Professional seasoning.
Okay.
A little more savvy, a little more quarterback savvy. The ability to
some more in the seesaw
and read defenses, and not that they can't. Again, hey. To be fair, Ritter, that was still his basically first year. He really didn't have a quarterback's coach, so I get it. And I appreciate Taylor for what he did. But if we're going to take that next step, we need a higher caliber quarterback, if I can say that and not be offensive. I think Russ would be great. I low key, I'm excited about Justin Fields if it happens. Cam, is Cam's arm...
Cam's good for podcasting right now at this point.
Right. Well, no, he did make the statement that he would come and play for Atlanta. But my question is, his shoulder, Cam was banged up at the end of his career, right? Yeah, I see the look on your face.
You think I'm finna put on my Falcon gear to go watch Cam fucking Newton throw some footballs in Atlanta? Like, come on, man. The time is over, man.
Let me ask
It's
you a
over.
question. Could we use him like what's the guy they use in New Orleans? All-purpose guy. You know, basically Swiss Army knife. What's his name? For the Saints.
We might as well just bring back Felipe Franks if we want to do all that, man. Like, come
No,
on, man. This
Felipe
ain't
Franks
happening.
was never that. He was never that.
What I
No, no.
want fans to hear, though, Terry, and you heard this, Eric, you heard this. Oh, yeah, big shout out to the chat. Chat's going crazy. Let's hit the like. Let's hit the share. Let's hit the subscribe button.
Yeah,
Terry Wilson's here in the chat. Oh, Terry Wilson's here on the podcast talking Falcons football with us. Eric Parker's brother is here in the chat. BLB, LBB. Is that what it is?
yeah. LBB and BLB. So I'm
LBB and
right,
BLB.
right. Yeah, I'm BLB. He's LBB.
Eric Parker's brothers here talking Falcons football with us.
Yeah.
Eric, you're definitely going to be on the podcast coming up soon. We have some more panels set up. Jeff Wolf, 95 North Falcons talk show from Bleacher Report, who was with us last night. Once again, we always say we're going to talk 20, 30 minutes, and we end up talking for a whole hour and a half, and could have been 2 hours, man. With these Falcon fans you have here in the chat, Terry, not only from One Time for the Fan, but from Dirty Fanatics United. Chase is also in the chat too as well. Big shout out to Chase. But they're diehard. And we're in the off season. They want to hear Falcons football. Us here at One Time for the Fan, we are fans. We're going to give you Falcons football. So, fans, I'm glad you guys are lit. I'm glad you guys are here because it's going down in a major way. But yeah, I'm over. I ain't doing no Cam Newton down. Cam Newton. No disrespect to Cam. You know he wants. Le'Veon Bell said the same thing. There's only one team I want to play for. Well, of course it's Pittsburgh.
Right.
Cam Newton. There's only one team I want to play for. Well, you've never played for Atlanta. Like, we understand. But we moved on.
Third down, let him run the, what you could let him run a play, maybe stretch the quarterback. I don't know, whatever.
This ain't no Madden game. We ain't passing the control over
I
here.
Hear that. I hear that. I hear that. Let me ask you a question. What do you think about Penix? I have my own opinion, but what do you think?
So I think, every quarterback, just like every OC, like Raheem said the other day, like he had a chance to once call his first play. I mean, Penix is a young kid.
Mm-hmm.
He's 20-some years old. He's going to get a chance to go play in the NFL wherever he goes.
Mm-hmm.
But here in Atlanta, people are worried about the injuries. They're worried about the championship performance at, what he did.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, what round was Tom Brady drafted?
Last round, last pick of the last round of that draft.
So Falcon fans, I mean, like Pat Mahomes didn't go first. Like there's some players out here that like
Russell Wilson
too as well. I mean, there's some guys
somewhere in there. Yeah.
They make a name for themselves.
Right.
And we don't play football here in the chat, but what we've seen from Michael Penix this season and him playing college football outside of the injury is he's done some phenomenal things. And could he work in a Zach Robinson system? Don't nobody here in the chat know because we haven't seen him in a Zach Robinson system.
That's
but
true.
What I think of him as a player coming out of college, I think he's phenomenal. I think he did a good job, bouncing back even after the injuries.
Mm-hmm.
And he's definitely going to go play for an NFL team. I was heavy on drafting him early in around January.
Mm-hmm.
Did some more film review and so on. Started to get more of the Drake May feel versus, Michael Penix. And he played in the national championship game. But when you look at the build of Drake May, who he is as a quarterback, that might be your next Josh Allen working in a Zach Robinson system. We might have a guy that's like, Terry mentioned it. This, they're looking that the quarterback they're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And
6'5", right? Isn't he 6'5"?
He's like 6'4". I mean, with cleats, he's gonna be around 6'5". Yeah.
Okay.
However, he's standing on that turf, but
Okay.
Yeah, we're looking at a Josh Allen, Ben Roethlisberger style quarterback who,
okay.
I mean, this guy he came from the air raid offense. Air raid is where first play of the game is a 70-yarder. Went down the field.
He's got
got an arm.
Big arm. Yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah, my concern with Penix is just number one, the injuries. A shoulder just doesn't go away. It doesn't go away. Mm-hmm. And my other concern was against stiff competition, right? He played Washington, right? So, and no disrespect to any of the opponents, but against Michigan, he looked pedestrian. You know, his footwork was terrible in that game. And I know he didn't have time, right? But what I look for is poise in the situation, right? And again, to your point, we don't know. You know, he could come out here and be a world beater, but I just don't think his frame will last, right? He's already coming into the league with injuries. If you can get him maybe second or third round, I'm okay with that. But I just don't see him as a early first round pick. That's just me. My brother disagrees. My brother loves him.
Yeah,
But
Eric's been heavy on Penix for a while. And Eric, I understand what you mean by that, but looking how it is in the draft, he probably ain't gonna even get past Pittsburgh at that point. I mean, I don't see him making it to the second round, but I don't have him in my top 5 anymore, like how I did in the beginning. But then again, the draft is coming up in a couple weeks, and we're going to find out what is really going on. I think Caleb is the big talk that everybody's talking about. I think Jaden Daniels is to follow. But the Bears, that Marvin Harrison, if you're keeping Justin Fields or if you try to trade back, it's going to be crazy, man. That's why I'm so glad to be a Falcon fan right now at this time, where I understand it's been rough not winning these past couple seasons, but this offseason, it means a lot.
Yeah.
It means a lot to me as a fan. It means a lot to you as a fan. Jeff Wolf, Joseph Avery, 95 North Falcons Talk Show, Eric Parker, April Thomas, Ghost Peppers is here in the chat. Everybody. It means a lot to all of them that this offseason is done right. And we have to get it right, man. We have to get it right, Terry.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know what? For the Bears, and I'll be honest, I like them going to get Marvin Harris, because in my opinion, he is one of the most polished receivers coming out of the draft in years. Dude didn't have to go back for a senior year. He did, but he was ready his junior year, right? So you add him to DJ Moore, you know, you might have something cooking in Chicago. So they could very well trade back. I mean, you know, I don't know. I don't know. That's the wonderful, beautiful, terrible thing about it. They hold all the cards. We just don't know, you know?
The cool thing about it is, what are we at? February 7th, about a month and some change away from everything really getting underway. And you know, one time for the fan is going to be here talking Falcons football with everybody. We're so glad that y'all are here talking Falcons football with us. We know there's probably a couple other content creators doing some shows tonight, so big shout out to them. Too as well. If I believe one is going, I think Falcoholics live right now too as well. So big shout out to Falcoholic over there. April Thomas, as you can hear right here on One Time for the Fan, Justin Fields would be the guy. We have fans in the chat that mentioned giving Ritter a second chance. We have fans here in the chat that's mentioned Russell Wilson. Fans that's talking about Penix, Jaden Daniels. It's the same thing that happened with the coach, Terry. Everybody threw their candidates of who they wanted. And then once Raheem was selected, it was like, all right, come together, or we're still gonna keep talking shit. Yeah. Hopefully, everybody then came together now because Raheem Morris is the coach. We're not. It's not going to change. Now they've moved on to what? Now the coaching staff. Okay, who's going to be the OC? Who's going to be the DC? They've already selected that. Now everybody's like, okay, let's come together now. Now it goes to probably the biggest thing: who's going to lead the ship? Who's really going to be the captain? To go out there and say, look, we're finna go win this championship in the next couple of years. And now the quarterback issue is going to be actually probably as big as the head coaching issue because there's names where people want. They want Daniels. Trade up. Go get him. Trade up. Get Caleb Williams. Move back. Go get a veteran in the free agency. So April Thomas to Joseph Avery to Carton Bunch. As you can see right here, no quarterback coach is a lot. Ritter problem. Carton Bunch just recently mentioned Wilson and Fields right here, as you can see.
Yeah, agreed. I think that was a big part of his problem because think about it. I mean, you could see it on the tape. So I agree. You know, I mean, even when Matt came out his first year, and Eric and I talk about this often, I think his first year, maybe a year and a half, Matt threw to one side of the field, right? So, you know, some quarterbacks, it takes them time, right? There is no experience for experience. You just have to go through it. You don't know what you don't know, right? So I get that. And again, agreed, Berto, 100%. But again, you know, I think our outlook overall is positive. I would love to see Justin Fields with the Falcons, especially with the weapons we got. I would love to see us go and get at least one burner. Justin Fields can sling it. He can run it. So you won't get any opposition to me out of Fields. I think Russ would be the best choice, but as far as I'm concerned, Justin is 1A. So
And the reading defense situation where they might say he has trouble reading defenses. Well, that's where Raheem Morris and Zach Robinson and the coaching staff of the Falcons come into play, not Matt Nagy
right,
and who's the guy they had behind him that they blew up after the second year? They was like done with this.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's tough, but we just throwing the name out there. We're just throwing the name out there. Who is
Yeah.
your top 5, Terry? If you're looking at quarterbacks right now for Atlanta, you're getting ready to go into the Benz. You getting ready to watch the draft.
Well, I mean, we've talked about the first two. We talked about Justin. We talked about Russ. We talked about Drake. We talked about what's his name from LSU? Can't think of his name. Jaden Daniels? Is Jaden Daniels LSU? Is that?
Yeah, he's LSU.
Okay.
Go Dogs.
All right, go Dogs. Go Dogs indeed. And for me, 5 is tough. Five is tough. I'm gonna because here's the thing. After you get to a certain point, let's just build up the defense, right? Let's just build up the defense. I don't like JJ McCarthy, and no disrespect to him. I think if you get Penix, you have to get him in at least pick 20. You got to trade back and get him. Like I don't think the work that you're going to have to put into him and the worry that he's got injuries. Let's be real. The guy's small, right? So unless he's going to bulk up, and I think we talked about that the other day. You said, yeah, but he's 19. He's obviously naturally going to get bigger, and that could be the case. But I don't see him as a top 10 pick. I don't see him as a top 15 pick. So if you go and get Penix, in my opinion, you have to trade down, get more picks. I'm okay with him at 20, but that's just me, right? So, for me, it's Russ, Justin. I like Drake. I like Drake a lot. I went and looked at him. We talked about him yesterday. And
I can't do the draft profiles we're going to be doing because Drake May's shit going to be like, bro, if you see him at 8, if everything falls to where you have Daniels going to 8, or you have Drake May going to 8, or you're sliding up for Daniels and Drake May, man, welcome to the Falcons, man. Tell you the honest truth, because Drake, I'm telling y'all, man, y'all need to watch some Drake May tape. Though you might see him playing against Syracuse and Boston College and fuck all that. Go watch the Drake May tape. Like, the kid can actually, he can play some football, man. And I know people are going to say, well, we saw Sam Howell like that. We saw Carson Wentz like that. We saw this guy like that. But you need a quarterback, Falcon fans. And Ghost Peppers does bring up a good he just had it. There it is. He said, if the Seahawks cut Geno Smith, would you be against bringing him in, Terry, as I get ready to start wrapping up the show here shortly? But Falcon fans, bring your questions, bring your comments, because we do talk Falcons football here all day. See, we got a lot of new people in the chat too as well. But Terry, if the Seahawks cut Geno Smith, would you be against bringing him in, chat? Would you
not if you can get him for a reasonable price, right? I mean, if you're paying him $20 million, hey, bring him in. Bring him in. Now you still need to go and draft somebody, right? But no, I'm not against. I mean, Geno has proven that he's a serviceable back, so I'm fine with it if you can get him at the number. Because again, above all things, we need a quarterback. We need some pass rushers. We you know what I mean? We got 48 sacks last year without basically having a stud. We need 1 or 2 studs on defense, and we can go. So I'm fine with it. I'm okay with that.
Falcon fans, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Chase from One Time for the Fan and Dirty Fanatics United said, you're still taking a chance with Fields. If you're gonna gamble, Keys, gamble with the guy you drafted. If that's the route, rookie is my number 1 option. See, that's the thing about talking with Falcon fans here in the chat. Everybody's gonna have their opinion about who to go get. There are still fans. I haven't heard nobody say Taylor Heineke. We should keep Heineke. Ain't nobody said nothing about that. Ain't nobody said Logan Woodside. So I can see what the fans are talking about, because they're telling you right now. Fans are saying, I haven't seen nobody mention Bo Nix, and I'm in a lot of Falcon groups.
Right.
A lot of Falcon chats. Ain't
Right.
nobody taking no Bo Nix right now, man. We trying to
Right.
go get this big name rookie kid or a solid free agent quarterback who will be available. Terry mentioning trades, and of course he's a trade guy from being a GM, and of course what he's done with the draft. I think he definitely loves the players that he's selected in the draft because they're doing a great job here in Atlanta, doing the best they can to help us win. But giving up a bunch of picks is not Terry in the draft. That would be an aggressive move because we've never seen Terry do that to just give up everything to go move up to 1 or 2.
Yeah.
But
That's
then
more
again,
off.
yep, that's
a
the Thomas Dimitrov move. You're right.
Move right there. Yeah. So I don't know. Look, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun. We'll probably talk about it for the next couple of weeks, month. But nobody knows until you know. But either way, hey man, I'm excited either way. But no, the more I think about Geno, that might not be a bad move. That might not be a bad move. You still keep Ritter, right? And Ritter as a third string, you could do worse, especially being that he's going to receive the coaching that he's going to get this year. So you sign Geno at 1, you go and draft a quarterback, whoever that is, and let's go. Maybe
and Geno technically, shout out to Ghost Peppers because Geno, you had DK Metcalf, you have a Drake London over here.
Yeah.
You have an addition to Kyle Pitts not having like how they had I forget who the Seattle Seahawks tight end was, but you have a Kyle Pitts here. You had Kenneth Walker over there. You have a Bijan Robinson. I mean, you have a defense that is similar in some ways to the Falcons' defense. And you got an all-pro safety on the other side of the ball, so at least Geno knows his defense is going to be doing some shit.
Yeah.
So Jimmy G, Geno, to hear some of those names now being brought up by the Falcon fans is actually pretty cool because we haven't heard that in the past couple of weeks. We're focusing on the Russell Wilson, focusing on if Fields would be available, focusing on Kirk Cousins until you said 90 fucking million. No, Kirk focusing on Tannehill until people realize Tannehill's not going to come here in Atlanta. But there's going to be, I think, a new quarterback in Atlanta. That's what I think. Terry, you think there's going to be a new quarterback in Atlanta?
I do. I really do. If I were betting, I'd bet the mortgage there's going to be a new quarterback in Atlanta. Just because even some of the comments that Terry made low-key kind of alluded to the fact that Ritter would be number 3. So, that's just my opinion. That doesn't mean it's fact. But, yeah, I think looking at what we did last year, and again, hey, hats off to Ritter. I don't play the game, right? I don't put my body on the line. But with his body of work to this point, I just don't see how you can go into next year not at least having other options, right? So,
Terry, you definitely said a lot you said a lot the other day because we talked for almost 2 hours and some change.
Yeah, we did.
So we damn near did 2 or 3 podcasts because we talked the day later with Eric in about another 45 minutes or so. So we did like 3 or 4 podcasts already. So this is like the 4th one we've done already.
Yeah.
But when you're looking at and I'm telling you this, Falcon fans, I'm going to light the fuck up when free agency starts and names are available and you see the Falcons quick to go and try to get their guy. I mean, if it's going to be Fields and he becomes available, go get him. Yeah, if that's what the Falcons want, I'm with them. If Terry's in the room saying, this is the guy, I'm in the room like, yep, that's the guy, Terry.
Yeah.
Let's go get him.
Well, Atlanta
I'll call him right now for you.
Atlanta would love Fields. He's a homegrown kid. He's, I would say, more aligned with, what we've had before that was, quite successful. So Atlanta would love Fields. They really would. You would have some folks.
He'd be in Magic City every Monday.
Hey, and you know what else? You know what cures everything? Winning, right? So we could say all this stuff about these quarterbacks, but regardless of who we get, if we come out winning by game 7, it's not even a discussion, right? So, yeah.
You're hearing the comments from Terry to Raheem to Terry, Raheem to the coaching staff, some of the coaches staying with Raheem. And then you might go get a guy like Russell Wilson and add him to this team. You might go get a guy like Justin Fields and add him to this team, a Caleb Williams or a Drake May, even a fucking Michael Penix to this team.
Yeah.
Bro, we're bound to get over that. It's been the past couple of years, Terry has been one game. Or we missed it by 2 games. We missed it by 1 game. No, we're done with that this year. We go get the guy. We got the coaching staff. You said it a lot. It's about coaching too. I believe in these coaches, just like I tried to believe in Arthur Smith's play calling. Falcon fans, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Terry Wilson is in here talking Falcons football with us. Terry, one more thing to talk about. 2 more things to talk about quickly before we wrap it up. Quick hot take. We heard Terry talking with Tori McElhinney from Fox 5. Big shout out to Tori too as well. We'd love to get her on the podcast. So I got to ask Miles on Friday, how can we arrange some of these interviews? But Tori and Terry having a sit down, a coffee type of vibe, and they're just coffee and chat or whatever they call it, coffee and conversations. I think it was
something like that. Yeah.
But you're noticing already since the Raheem hire that Falcons, they can't fast forward time, so of course they got to take it day by day. But Terry talking to Tori, having these interviews, the press conference, and then the fan interview afterwards, they're really hype on Raheem. They're really hype on this new coaching staff, and it's time to go win. You can feel the energy when Raheem was there the other day in the building. But what I heard today was, Terry has been grinding. Oh, yeah, not to mention Raheem called him or texted him during the interview. He had to cut the phone off. So I want to know what that fucking text was too as well. I'm guessing they're talking free agents or quarterbacks.
100%. Russell, let's go Russ. Let's get him. I'm kidding.
So I don't know who's in the group chat, but
let's find out. Let's do it.
Let me know. But if you're looking at go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Dispatch the spies. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sheesh. If you're looking at Raheem and this team, Raheem the Dream in this team, you're looking at something that could be amazing here for Falcon fans, because we've been waiting for days where we're going to be playing in a game like this that's going to be played in a matter of days on Sunday, probably a year or two from now. So Falcon fans, when we get back to that moment, and it's Raheem Morris and it's this coaching staff and whoever it may be, it could be, I don't know who the quarterback is, I'm going to be there for it. But what you heard Terry talk with Tori the other day, he seemed confident that they're going to get it right this time.
I tell you what I noticed, and we talked about this the other day. It was the relationship, the connectivity, the energy between Raheem and Terry, right? I'm telling you something. Watching that interview, I got goosebumps.
Yeah.
And I truly feel like 3, 4, 5, 6 years from now, we'll look back on that day and say, you know what? That was the day it changed, right? That was the day the paradigm shifted. That was the day the narrative was killed. And you know what? Hey, we went forward and Atlanta can win a Super Bowl, right? Because like he said, why not us? I'm excited about the direction he's going in. I think he's got it right. I really do. Look at my brother.
Justin Ritter.
Whatever. I have a feeling. I have a great feeling about this coaching staff. And yeah, you need good players, but let me tell you something. Good coaches make difference. They change lives. They change the world. They change the direction of the team. And I think Raheem was called, I said it, called, assigned, anointed for this moment, right? Okay. It might be a little dramatic, but the point is, the point
just
is,
little.
I felt goosebumps in that presser. Even the way he deflected, even when people ask questions that might piss other coaches off, he used humor, right? And I'm so excited that we got him as opposed to Belichick, who has, great defensive coach, great defensive mind, one of the greatest defensive mind we'll ever see, but has the people skills of a rock. And again, no disrespect to him. He has definitely earned the credit of the GOAT that he is due. But with this younger generation, with this NIL generation, you can't say to them, because I said so, get off my lawn.
Yeah.
Do what I say, young man. Go to bed. You can't do that. You can't take that approach with them,
I
right?
think it was Andrew Hawkins or one of the journalists that used to play NFL said playing for Bill Belichick is a tough situation to play for. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. You know, last thing I'll say about Bill, most of his coaches, I think Vrabel would be the exception, but most of his coaches who coached on his staff and went on to become head coaches failed miserably. What does that tell you? That tells you he hoarded everything for himself, right? And again, hey, no disrespect to him, I think we made the right choice. No, Eric, we don't want to see Bo Nix. We don't want to see him. At least I don't. No disrespect to him, but yeah, that's it.
Man, I'm telling you, Falcon fans, it gets you geared up every time I go live. Every time a Falcon fan's in the chat, we're getting closer and closer to the days where we get more news. Anything is good. When they dropped the interview today, I said, "Wait, Terry did what? Interview with the court? I'll take these 23 minutes. What are we talking about today, Terry? Like I was in the fucking interview. Like I was sitting over there.
Let's do it.
Man, come on, Falcon fans. It's about winning. The culture needs to get back to, hey, we need to get out on the field and bring the product that the fans need. But quick take for you. Kyle Pitts option, 10.5 million. You taking it? Yes or no?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I guess my question would be, this new offensive coordinator that he has, how does he use tight ends? You know,
if I'm guessing as a first year OC, how could you not look at this roster and say, yeah, we need to trade this guy, and this guy on offense?
That's true.
If it's not, your low tier rated guys that people would be expecting a trade for, like, oh, they traded Hodge, or they traded Miller, or they traded. Don't trade no fucking Drake London. Don't trade no Bijan Robinson. Don't trade no Kyle Pitts up in here.
Oh, agreed.
We try to see these weapons eat. Now's the time where everybody's excited. Don't give it away now. Don't bring the cake in and walk past me now. Let me get a piece of that fucking cake. Whose birthday is it? What time is the party start? That cake look good. It's tomorrow. Why the fuck you get the cake today? Why'd you bring it in now?
Dessert. Let's do it.
I'm hungry. So Kyle Pitts is hungry. Drake London is hungry. He mentioned those names the other day. Let's see them eat.
Do you think that Drake and Kyle specifically have been underutilized to this point?
Yeah, of course. It goes to the play calling, drawing up the plays, the scheme, whatever they was trying to run. I mean, there was some plays where, we got some wins. We know Pitts did some, here and there that bailed us out. The Packer game, Pitts had that big catch too as well, week 2. This season, and then of course Drake London in Seattle last year, and then of course coming back against the Rams from 25 points. I mean, everybody was eating out there in that game with Mariota, but there was some games where they were doing their thing, and I gotta give a big shout out to what they tried to do to get Pitts involved, what they tried to do to get London involved and Bijan, but it wasn't enough.
It wasn't.
And they used them, I would say, more so on not so on the positive side, even though Bijan had a shit ton of yards. I mean, he was a flashy running back, flashy player this year that did his job, because everybody on the Falcons team, I think, did the best they could up until that Saints game when they realized, it was over at the half or after the pick.
Yeah, that was a beatdown.
Drake, Zach Robinson, I'm guessing what we saw in the Ram system, and this is what Raheem said to us in the fan room the other day. This is not a Ram style.
Right.
This is our style.
Right.
So don't expect like a Ram type of offense. He said this is our style. So Zach Robinson going to come in here and draw it up. I'd love to see the first play of the game, us against the Vikings in Minnesota, 5 wide receiver set. They're going to be like, what the is going on out here?
Yeah. And thank you for saying that. I think with the backs that we have, you have the flexibility to do that.
Yeah.
Right? So you can come out in a different set. All of a sudden, you call the audible position of players, and now you can get in 5 wide receivers, and you got a linebacker on Bijan that probably isn't going to be able to stick with him. So, I would agree with that. Question.
You saw Zach. Okay, yeah, Terry.
I'm sorry. What defense does Raheem want? Does he run a 3-4? Is he partial to a 4-3? What was his scheme in LA?
Well, Jimmy Lake, I'm guessing what they're doing with Washington. I see a multiple defense. I mean, your nickel 2-4-5 did a pretty good job this year or last year.
Okay.
I mean, you did put a lot of pressures. Your coverage shacks is where you was blowing it. Those Ryan Nielsen soft coverage blitzes, those soft coverage sacks that he tried to use in like third down situations, it hurt us because teams were still driving down the field. So I mean, the coverage sacks have to be better, but looking at the scheme, some fans believe they're going to go 3-4. I believe it's going to be a multiple defense.
Okay.
I'd love to see Grady still in that, that 4-3 or that nickel 2-4-5 with him and David next to him. David coming back off an injury. See, they never really got a chance to get in rhythm too, because Grady was hurt, then David was hurt.
Yeah.
David came back, and then he's looking next to him, and Albert Huggins is here. Then the next day, Laquel London is here. Then the next day, Calais Campbell's inside. Like, I mean, you wanted to get that unity that you're seeing with the Eagles, where it was like Fletcher Cox, Jordan Davis, Jaden Carter. Like, you knew the Eagles front line was about that action. Chris Jones knows when he lines up, we're about that action with that KC front line. So, that I want to see them unleash Troy Anderson more. And with Nate Landman's season he had last year, what are they going to do with Ellis too as well? Remember, there's going to be about 15 to 20, probably 22, 23 bodies out the door this season. They're going to make some restructures and everything. Where does Nate Landman end up? Because if he's not going to be here, and you're trusting Troy with the injury coming back, somebody it's going to be. I want to see them play multiple, but keep that nickel. That nickel seemed to bring them some success next year, but tighten it up a little bit. They got to tighten it up a little bit.
For our audience who, some of us may not be savvy and understand, can you explain what a nickel 2-4-5 is? Just, for our audience who may not.
I mean, you do have your. Well, I don't want to get into my football days here. So I'd rather bring a coach on here, because Big Low Country Sports is a coach. Okay. So I don't want to break down nickel 2-4-5 to where he might see it, the podcast, and say, Jack, you're forgetting this, you're forgetting this. So there are coaches and people who watch the podcast that are saying, don't break it down in a way where you forget X, Y, and Z.
That's a good point.
But
fair enough.
The 3-4, I don't think it was Grady's best fit, right? When he's playing that solo nose tackle, I didn't like when he was lined up like that. I wanted to see another body next to him. I think Grady works well when he's on that front four line, right? And last year they did a good job of using Landman on those short yard situations with the checkdowns, and what Deion Jones was supposed to do when covering some of these tight ends. Landman was able to pick up on that. And of course, they're flat, short, intermediate routes. The problem was too, as well, when you had Richie Grant covering some of your tight ends in open space, coverage was just like, what is going on here? And once again, tight ends, I knew we were going to have a problem with tight ends when we played the preseason game against Detroit, and Hawkinson had those 3 catches with us quickly. As soon as we off the bat, I was like, how is this tight end eating on us? And then Laporta, and then it's just tough, man. But definitely, I do think they go multiple defense and definitely, apply more pressure with the coverage backs this season.
I tell you what, Richie can lay the wood though, man. I gotta definitely can. Richie can put you on your back, man. Keep your head on the swivel.
Will he be here next year though? We will see.
That's a good question. That is a good question. Yeah. What's the corner?
Jeff
not AJ, opposite AJ.
Jeff Okudah.
You think he's going to be here?
I mean, shit. I mean, Arthur Smith kind of did him dirty, And if we're looking at a player's coach, a coach's coach, and you got a guy like AJ Terrell saying, "Yo, Smith did my man dirty over there," like, you know what I'm saying? Me and him is locked down. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't want to see him come over here for just a season,
right?
But then again, man, coach is going to make his decisions.
Yes.
I do think they might look to keep him here this season, but it's about the money too, man.
Yeah.
Another team's going to come over there and step on your toes. Like, how much are you giving them? Okay, well, we'll give them this. And it's kind of like, we can't keep them no more. But the way Smith used them was just tough, man. I mean, this team kind of fell apart randomly in different ways.
Yeah.
After the injuries to a lot of the players too as well, and the play calling was really noticeable by like week 6, week 7 for most defenses. It was just hard, man. But like I said, I told you the other day on the phone, like our first dominating win of the entire season was against the Colts on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
You waited all the way to the end of the season to have a dominating win against the Colts, and then the following week you get blown the fuck out by the Bears. Your biggest loss of the season against the Bears, a game that you should have won. You won the Carolina game, you'd be in the playoffs. You would have sacked Josh Dobbs, you'd have been in the playoffs. You would have got Kyler Murray down. You would have been in the playoffs. You would have never let DeAndre Hopkins get 3 touchdowns in Tennessee that day. You would have been in the playoffs.
You'd have not thrown that interception.
Oh, shit. That's tough. Which one was that?
I don't know. Pick one. I'm kidding.
Was that 1 of 13, 2 of 13? Which one was that?
I don't know. What do you think about the possibility of some of Raheem's former players coming here, to the Falcons?
I look at when Raheem, not Raheem, what's the guy's name? Nielsen came from the Saints.
Yeah.
2 players came with him. That was the defensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
Just imagine what the head coach can do.
Yeah.
So I imagine that there's going to be some players from the Rams that could be here in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's going to be players that, Aaron Donald, if he can,
Jalen Ramsey.
Shit. But you never know. You never know what can happen because
you don't.
If you do, let's just say randomly end up with, some of this big name talent.
Yeah.
Let's just say Daniel Hunter says, "Oh hell yeah, I'm gonna go to Atlanta."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We're gonna get Daniel Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? There's some other names that we can keep going over this free agency list. But Falcon fans, that's what I want y'all to do. This is y'all homework. Go and look online at the players available at the inside linebacker position. They should be using for your nickel 245. Go look at your outside linebackers available, your nose tackles. Go look at your defensive ends. Go look at your cornerbacks. The fucking free agency is lit with players. There's a lot of talent right now in the free agency when the offseason hits.
Mm-hmm.
The part that sucks about it is when you go to quarterback, that's when you get disappointed because you're going to look at, oh my gosh, don't tell me one of these guys is going to be one of our next quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And you're one of those 8, 9, 10 teams that need a quarterback right now. People saying the Steelers don't need a quarterback. Jack, don't throw them in the conversation. Mike Tomlin said he's going to challenge Kenny Pickett this year.
He did. You got about 11 teams that need a quarterback, but Tampa Bay won the Super Bowl with who now? What was his name?
Not Brady.
Before
we're talking about who was that? Johnson?
No.
Was that Brad Johnson? No, that was
Dilfer. Trent Dilfer.
Yeah.
A game manager, right? So, it can be done now that I want to do it. More importantly, now that I want to see it, but it can be done.
Yeah. My bad, Jeff. That's right. It was regular season too, man.
Yeah,
I was all hyped up over here, man. You know how it is. I ain't confirmed no signings or no players, so don't get me now. But Falcon fans, hit that like, hit that share, hit that subscribe button. It's all about talking Falcons football with the Falcons community, and it has been great talking Falcons football tonight. We covered a little bit about draft scenarios. Would you trade up? Would you trade back? Would you go for a Justin Fields move, free agency move? And we talk about this, with Berto. We talked about this with Scott, Karisic, Ricondo. Every other Falcon fan has been on the chat since, the offseason has started. We've been chatting about this for weeks. In a couple of shows coming up, things are going to change, right? Because we have the show Friday with Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett, we're talking. I'm trying. This is Myles' 7th time on the podcast, right? Every time it's been different, but he's a great journalist for Fox 5. One of the executive producers over there. Him and DJ Shockley and Justin Felder, everybody, they do a great job over there covering Falcons football, right? So for Myles, he just came back from the Senior Bowl. I need to know, what are we looking at, Myles, when I'm doing my mock drafts? Give me some second, third. I mean, that too as well, because if you don't get one first round, Myles, I need to know, give me some insight on second, third round guys, fourth round guys, fifth round guys. Myles, give me some insight on what you heard from Raheem when you talked to him. What you heard from Terry when you talked to him. I remember we spoke to Myles the day after he spoke to Terry in Indianapolis at the Combine last year. He did the interview with Terry, and then the following day, he's here on One Time for the Fan. And I'm sitting there talking to Myles, and he's getting me geared up off what Terry's saying. And then sure enough, Terry does make some of the, moves that he said in the interview. You know what I'm saying? He actually went out and did some of the pieces that he was talking about. But as much as Terry was excited about that team last year, that's how excited I am about this team this year. Because I think the pieces are in place on the coaching staff to get the job done. I like the Zach Robinson hire. At first, I was a little iffy. I ain't gonna lie. Chase saw it. Bodie saw it. It was like, Zach, tell me what you think about Zach. And I was like, that's a tough decision. But then again, I started to look into what Raheem believes and what Terry believes. And when you heard it from the press conference and you go back and you look at what Ben Johnson did with the Lions and Sluick with the Texans, and even Raheem said it. There was a time where he got a chance to call his first play. And he's a 2-time Super Bowl champion. And he told us the other day, he wants to go win another one. And I believe that.
And there was a lot of demand for our offensive coordinator. Like about 7 or 8 teams wanted him desperately. So that should tell you, that they feel that way too. We definitely got somebody. But yeah, hey man, I can't wait. I cannot wait. I'm excited. I can't wait for that first play. I just really think this is going to be a different season. And I'm going to go on record and say we're making the playoffs this year. Book it.
Terry Wilson that came to the chat on his first podcast in February.
I did it. And
then said we're going to the playoffs this year. Falcon fans, if this is not a guy you guys want back on the podcast, you guys got to let me know. The man is calling playoffs in February. We didn't even get a quarterback yet. It could be Logan Woodside at quarterback. Man's calling.
Doesn't matter. Book it. It's like spades. We going 10.
Shit. We look at.
There you go. We going 10. I didn't even check with my partner. I didn't check. We're going 10.
I got about 7 over here.
That's yeah. I got it. I got 8 in the hook.
I got 8.
Oh. There you go.
Yeah. Finna reel him in. Finna reel him in.
Yeah.
Don't sandbag somebody ass. They were looking like, what you guys got, huh? Bored?
Diamonds and hearts, man.
My God. That's one thing about spades. When you hear somebody say, so we're going board.
Board?
Whoo-wee!
Yeah.
Y'all definitely going board. Y'all might even make board. It is about to get ugly.
Yeah, probably not.
Boys home.
Probably not. Yeah, man. Definitely.
Oh, man, Terry, tell these Falcon fans, man, they got to hit that like. They got to hit that share. You hit that subscribe button. We are talking Falcons football with Terry Wilson, diehard Atlanta Falcon fan. And when it comes to being a fan, Ghost Peppers, Jeff Wolf, Big Terry, let me go over the chat right here, right? So Ghost Peppers is a diehard Falcon fan, right? He's been here for a while talking Falcons football with me. Ghost Peppers actually helped me. I was butchering Ogundeji's name, one of the former Falcon players. I used to just call him 92 because I didn't want to go over and say his name. So Ghost Peppers helped me pronounce Ogundeji. So big shout out to Ghost Peppers with Ogundeji, who's no longer a Falcon too as well. So it makes no sense why I was even trying to pronounce the name. But yes, shout out to Ghost Peppers. Jeff Wolf sends me a text at 3:12 in the fucking morning. Sure enough, I'm up playing Madden. And I look at the text and I see a picture and I say, is that Flowery Branch? Jeff Wolf is standing outside Flowery Branch the night before training camp that's open to the public at 3:12 in the morning. Outside the gate, waiting for the sun to come up because he's a die-fucking-hard fan. Now, some would say, well, you could have just got there at 7 a.m., bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you had to wait. The gates open at 9. Terry, the gates open at 9. My man,
that's dedication.
So I ain't gonna lie. I call security. I call Falcon security and say, hey, man, inside the gate. Might jump it. But when you see Jeff, you'll see Jeff on the road. You'll see Jeff at home games. Same for Joseph Avery. He's a diehard Falcon fan. He's been talking about the Grits Blitz. He wants the Grits Blitz back. He wants a dominant defense back. John Moreno, who lives in Galveston, Texas, he's a big Falcon fan. He travels to home and away games. He's also a member of the Rise Up Tour group, the group I was telling you about, Terry. Georgia, Texas boys been in the chat talking Falcons football with us. He is ready to see this team win. Sullivan, who's here in the chat. The list goes on. I mean, there's a lot of people here. People's going to be commenting and chatting and watching it afterwards too as well. So, Falcon fans, I'm glad that you had a chance to talk Falcons football with us tonight. Terry, I'm sure you'll be back on the podcast soon. So we have to find out what is going on in the world with Terry right now as we get ready to wrap up this podcast. What happens after the podcast? Like, do you just go back and talk more Falcons football in another group, or is just more like focusing on Braves now? Because Braves season's about to start too as well. So what is going on in the mind of Terry right now?
Hey man, Falcons right now. I think the Braves start spring training in a couple of weeks. But again, I'm all Falcons right now. How could you not be? When I get off this call, actually, I'm gonna get back to work behind me,
Yeah.
and then when I get off work, we'll talk Falcons some more. So yeah, all Falcons all the time. What was that saying? Guy we used to have all gas, no brakes. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
there you go.
Falcon fans, I'm telling you, man, as we get ready to wrap up this podcast. Matter of fact, next time you do the computers, man, put the Falcons all over every one
I'm
of
gonna
those
do that.
computers on that.
I'm gonna, do that. I'm gonna you're gonna get it on every screen. You're gonna get it on,
Ah,
and I'm gonna do
so
that.
when fans see it before you even get to the computer, they'll see Falcon. Be like,
There you
God
go.
damn, we got a bunch of computers over there.
There you go. Yeah,
Oh man, it's going
exactly.
down in a major way. Falcon fans, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Any shout outs before we go ahead and get out of here, Terry?
Hey man, shout out to my brother Eric Parker. You know, LBB, I appreciate you as always, man. And let's get it. And definitely shout out to you,
Mhm.
the man of the hour, the host.
Appreciate it,
Thank
man.
you for having me. And if you would be so kind, I would love to come back and join you at a time of your choosing.
Man, Terry, this has been great. Slim Sam Little now joins the chat. A lot of Falcon fans you're gonna be seeing, Friday, Sunday, next week. Now, the thing about it is, Falcon fans, I'm gonna let you guys know after the Myles Garrett interview on Friday. I'm gonna go ahead and do the one time for the fan giveaway information again. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and do it right now. Drop it in the chat. We got some new folks in here. It's gonna be one time for the fan, of course. Hashtag one time for the fan. You got to be subscribed to the channel. We're doing a giveaway. We want all Falcon fans to be a part of the giveaway. Last year, like I said, we gave away a Falcon Kyle Pitts signed jersey, some game tickets, some other cool Falcon stuff. So we need all Falcon fans here in the chat to participate in a free giveaway. If you win, top 5 winners, you'll get some Falcon prizes. It's from us. It's from One Time for the Fan to you, the fan. So we want you guys to definitely participate in it. We got over like 40 names right now too as well. So some people want to win some merch. And big shout out to Matthew Bass, who's not here with us tonight, but he won the jersey last year and he won the game tickets. And of course, I think Dylan was the other winner for the 5th prize, and the young lady won the shirt for the 3rd prize, and then the hoodie that we sent out too as well. So Falcon fans, it's major when it comes to one time for the fan giving back to you all. And we do have another podcast popping up on Friday at 3 p.m. with Miles. There goes Jeff Wolf. Look at Jeff Wolf. He's trying to get some merch. He's gonna work the training camp too. I already know Jeff Wolf is. Big podcast on Friday. Bring your questions, bring your comments, bring everything to the chat. Because Myles Garrett, you only have him here for like an hour. And then otherwise than that, you can watch him on Fox 5. A lot of times he's so busy on Twitter. You see what's going on when he posts and put out articles about the Falcons and everything else. Everybody just retweets, reshares, reposts, because he is a big part of the Falcons, journalism team. And he's very close to the Falcons. So ask away, Falcon fans. Be here in the chat Friday at 3 p.m. Ask your questions to Myles Garrett. You want to know about second round? You want to know about some guys in the Senior Bowl? You want to know about potential quarterback here in Atlanta? You want to know about Russell Wilson or Justin Fields move? Matter of fact, I asked Myles Garrett the Justin Fields question back during the bye week when we did the bye week situation when Myles showed up to the podcast, and I asked him about Justin Fields. So I'm gonna go back and watch that podcast. Be ready for this interview. So I'm gonna go ahead and ask him again about Justin Fields. Is it still
Mm-hmm.
possible? I'm asking him about Russell Wilson. We'll talk about Kirk Cousins. We're gonna talk about what he saw at the Senior Bowl. Who is the guy that could be a surprising pick, maybe for the Falcons? Who did Myles see the scouts talking to from the Falcons? He can verify these things because it's information that can be told, So Myles, we definitely appreciate it. Look at my tail. He's jumping in here. We're getting ready to end it. Here he goes. I missed the podcast. No, because when I hit end stream, you can go back and watch it on YouTube. Or you can listen to it on Apple Podcasts or Spotify Podcasts. No matter where you get your podcast, you can get one time for the fan. If we ain't there, tell me, email me, message me. I'll put the motherfucker there. You best believe that. One time for the fan. Rise up to all my diehard Falcon fans. Terry, you good?
I'm good.
Hey, man. We up out this thing. Friday, 3 p.m. Rise up, everybody.